Hello, it's Sue here from the Unicorn Advisory. I am going to be taking you through Kajabi pipelines tonight. If you want to grow your email list, a pipeline is a way that you can deliver your freebies. So we're going to be looking at this freebie pipeline. It's one of the easiest pipelines to create in Kajabi to help you grow your list, and such an important part of selling online and digital products. So pipelines are Kajabi's funnels. So you might have heard of a sales funnel or just funnels in general. And basically what they are is something that takes someone from point A to point B. Someone potentially who is new to your world, they might discover you through a lead magnet, an ad that might take them through to it, maybe a link on your social media, and they are then presented with a gift saying, hey, come and get this free item. Just fill in your email and then it will get delivered to them. So I'm going to show you how to set this up because Kajabi's pipelines really do make it very, very easy. So if you come into this marketing area in Kajabi and then you click onto pipelines, the one that we are going to look at is freebie. Now there are lots of different pipelines. I've got some extra bonus ones in here from Amy Porterfield, being a Digital Course Academy student. But yeah, the main ones that I tend to use are the webinar and the freebie. Personally, as someone who uses Kajabi every day and am a bit nerd-like about it, this is my favorite thing to do, is to use Kajabi. I don't tend to use pipelines so much, but especially when I was first starting out, it's a really good idea to get a sense of what you need to set up, because the pipelines set up everything that you need, so you don't have to worry about it. Now, with pipelines, they aren't their own individual area of Kajabi. What a pipeline basically does is glues different areas of Kajabi together. So say, for example, in this freebie pipeline, if I'm going to, actually, I'll go into this one. So this one is going to create for us two website pages. So this is going to be in our landing page area and one email sequence. And on this opt-in page, it's actually going to create a form for us. So Kajabi in the background is going to create the different areas. So the form is still going to be a form. The email sequence is still going to be under email campaigns in the sequences, and the two pages are still going to be in your website area. They are actually going to be under a folder that will be specific for the pipeline. It's just a way of keeping the pages for each pipeline together, but they're not like, none of the things in the pipeline are their own that you can only access from the pipeline. The pipeline basically just holds them all together like glue for you. So, and it makes sure it's all integrated and works, which is always nice. So freebie pipeline, let's go and create this pipeline. So the really cool thing about it, let's assume that you've already got your lead magnet created. So we're going to call this Sue's lead magnet. I'm not creative enough at this point of the day to come up with something cool. Now, if I have this lead magnet ready, I can upload it here. So I'm just going to, I don't even know, I'm just going to, let's see what we can find. I'll pick a random file. What's this here? What do we got? There we go. Evergreen webinar. I always use this one. It's my PDF. If you need an evergreen webinar checklist, if you're in Unicorn Heroes, you can go and grab it. Otherwise, let me know. So that's already included this PDF guide. So that will work really well if you've got a single file, like some kind of PDF, checklist, guide, ebook, something like that. So now click Generate Pipeline, and the little Kajabi background wizardy things are going to go to work, and it's going to tell you some fun, cool messages while it's doing it. And, you know, while it's doing that, just reminding you, if you don't have Kajabi yet, 3 months for $99 sale runs out in at the end of the week. So if you don't have it yet, make sure you do that. I'll add the link in so that you can get our bonuses, and you can get all this awesome training and support for an entire year, and you'll have me in your ear telling you how to use Kajabi and having fun with you. So, so that's a nice little bonus. So if you want info, you can go to theunicornadvisory.com/Kajabi. I was hoping that little spruik for Kajabi would work out to be the right amount of time it would take for the pipeline to create. So I don't know if that means it's going to be time for me to start singing. Come on, Kajabi. I don't know if anyone wants to hear me sing. Oh, there we go. You're lucky. You don't get me singing. All right. So Kajabi has now created everything that we need for this pipeline. Now, I'm going to put a caveat. There are ways that you can make this fancier and do extra things, I'm going to go the simplest way. I'm going to keep this one really simple. And if you want other things, that's a great opportunity for you to join me in Unicorn Heroes in my membership, so I can teach you more. But this one's going to be the simple one. You have a freebie, you want to get it in someone's hands. All right, so what Kajabi has done, Kajabi has created this opt-in page, this page that you can give to people in order to get them to sign up. It's also created an automation. Actually, it's created a form here. And then on that form is an automation so that when someone submits the form, then they will get added to this email sequence that Kajabi has also created for us. Thank you, Kajabi. And there is a thank you page as well. So now we're just got to go and customize all of this and make it our own. Now, a couple of things that I will suggest. If you have left it just saying freebie and you want to change it and you want to change the words, you can just come in here and go rename pipeline. Super handy. The other thing that I would suggest that you do is for this opt-in page and this thank you page, it's not a problem when you only have one pipeline, but when you play around and you create a few different ones, they're all going to be called opt-in and they're all going to be called thank you. And if you have to go and find that page in a drop-down list and you've got 3 called opt-in and 3 called thank you, you're not going to know which one is which. So I do recommend that you come in here, go into edit details and change the title of this page. Now, this is also where you can update this to be something much, much easier. You're never going to be able to tell someone this link if you say on a podcast or you're mentioning it in your free training. Like, if I'd called my Kajabi partner page, these random numbers, no one's ever going to remember that. So you can change this to something nice and easy to remember. So we're going to call this Sue Freebie. Now, if you were, say, for example, our Kajabi resource vault, we just call that vault. It's actually, I'm going to make that. I'm just going to call this. I'm going to call this vault here, just as an example. Single words are better because otherwise, if you ever have to speak that URL, you don't want to have to be going vault dash something, something, something. You just want to make it super simple. So if you can come up with one word for your freebie, like book, if it's an ebook, guide, if it's a guide to something, and then change this title of it. So I'm going to say, I'm going to call, actually, do you know what? We're going to call it the webinar checklist, since that's what it is. Sue Kajabi, I'm going to call it Sue's Kajabi webinar checklist opt-in. So then if we're ever searching for this, we will know exactly what it's called. So we're going to call this one webinar. We could even call it webinar CL, but it's probably so much easier just to call it webinar because that's really easy to say, even though this is a fake domain because this is our partner area. But if it was on our site, we'd call it the unicornadvisory.com/webinar. Now, if you wanted to add your SEO and social information here, I do highly recommend it on your opt-in page, especially if you're going to share this on Facebook, as Facebook is going to share the image. And if you want to know where the image is going to come from when you share the link, it is in this section here. So if you are doing this within a pipeline, just remember to come in and edit the details. I recommend doing it anyway to update the title and the URL, but you can then go and fill in your SEO information. I do just actually ran last week, and I will be selling the replay for our SEO workshops for Kajabi, so basic SEO. So let me know in the comments if you would like a link to that. We haven't got the replay up yet, but it won't be too far away. So you can put your image in here, and this page you want to be shown in search results. You want people to find your opt-in because you want them to join your list. And, like filling in this title and description is really going to help with that. But the most important one I'd worry about at this point more than Google is just choosing this social image. Now, stick with these dimensions here, but just a little a little tip, just try to keep any important information in the middle of the image, as sometimes Facebook, especially if you put the link in a comment, is going to crop off the sides and the top and the bottom. So don't try and crowd that image, and try and keep any important text in the middle of it. So you just go in here, just add your image in, and that is the image that shows up when you do put that link onto Facebook. All right, so we've got, that's the basics for here. Oh, it's already been taken. There we go. That's probably because I've already set something like this up. So we're going to call this then checklist. Checklist. There we go. Hopefully that will work. Hopefully I've done so many test things in here. I have no idea what I've set up before. Great. Okay, it's checklist. So what that means is you've got two ways that you can share the link for this pipeline. Now, I personally recommend to share the link to this actual page. Just click on copy. You can share the link to the pipeline, but by sharing it to the page means if in one day in future you've used all your pipelines up and you want to, unpipeline it so you can do something else, this page still exists in Kajabi. And if you share this link, regardless of whether you delete the pipeline, then the link is still going to work. If you share the pipeline link, if for some reason you decide to delete your pipeline and use that space for another one, the link won't work anymore. So I just like to use this link as it's the direct link to the actual page. That's just my Sue personal preference. Okay, so this is our opt-in page. That's just something that I would recommend you. Oh, there we go. I'm going to come back in here. I've gone too far back out. Okay, so now we're going to update this page. So I'm not going to go too much into the details of how to actually update pages in Kajabi because I'm going to put that in a separate training, and otherwise I'll be here all night. But you will just go and update this page to make it more you. You can change the wording, you can move things around, you can add sections in here if you want, like you can add some different sections onto the page. Just a really simple, really easy way to make this a bit more you is just change this background color. This is actually our brand color, but it doesn't look very nice. That's our subtle brand color. I'm going to go in this purple. And what you can do is this overlay is on a slider. So you can still use that background image, even though it's just the Kajabi default, but just even updating it to your color, just going into the page and just, updating, where are we? Updating like the button. The form is already in there, which is super cool. But yeah, so you want to update the text, talk about your freebie, why it's so awesome. Update this button here. Anywhere that you click on in Kajabi, you'll see that there's a little blue block going around it. That is where you can click on that and it will take you to where you update that. So it's going to go through, and sometimes you'll need to scroll up or down, but you can just it'll take you to that part. So if you want to change this or delete that, if you want to change your button, you can change the button background color. So we might make that our orange. And sometimes it's really nice, I think, with a freebie to actually put an image in as well. So you can move these blocks around. Perhaps if you've got a mock-up of your image, if it is a PDF that you can create really easily in Canva, or if it's a mini course, you can create a little computer mock-up image. That can be a really nice way to encourage people. But sometimes I see people getting really worked up with their opt-in page, and I'm so guilty of this myself. To make this page like perfect and the best page ever. The copy is the most important thing on this page, but sometimes less is more. Sometimes just keeping it really simple and just saying, hey, here's this awesome free thing. This is how it's going to benefit you. Do you want it? And then just put your name and email. Sometimes that can actually be a really great way. And I'm going to suggest for this, what you're doing here with this simple freebie is that you just keep it simple. Don't add too many sections. Don't go crazy and spend a week customizing it. Just keep it simple. Maybe remove the background picture and put something in that suits your brand a little bit more. Obviously, pay attention to the copy. Perhaps update the color of the footer to make it a bit more in line with you. But the most important thing is getting someone's email address, which means giving them something which is appealing to them, which will make them want to give you their email address. Someone isn't going to care if the button is orange or blue, even though I do, know that branding and colors are important. What's more important is getting their email address. And some of the most successful people in online business have the most simple and plain websites. So yeah, that's just my little pep talk around that. Just get it done rather than perfect. You can always come and update and change it after you get it out there. All right, so if you did want to change your background image, just come in here to image and you can upload an image here. This is just the default one. If you did want to put in here, you've got text form. If you did want to put an image, if you did have a mock-up, you can come in here and just add an image. And that image you can play around with. Oops, that's probably too big. You can play around with where that image goes. So I'm not going to go too much into that like page styling, because I will do another whole training on page styling. Can you add a quiz to this pipeline? Yes, you could add a quiz to this pipeline if you added in. It depends. Okay, I'll come back to quizzes at the end, Manisha. So yes, you could add a quiz instead of this freebie, or you can have it so that the thank you page is the start of the quiz. So what you would do is that you would make this, hey, take the quiz on here, and when they click on get it now, instead of going to this next pipeline step and going to the thank you page, you would send them to the start of your quiz. If you're using Interact, you can embed that Interact quiz onto a page, and so they can then start the quiz, so then you're not getting the email at the end of the quiz. So that is one way that you can do that. All right, so we've got the freebie. I'm going to take this image off now because it's just distracting me a little bit. And I don't have something I can quickly put in there, I don't think. So let's just pretend this is all looking how you want. You've copywritten it and described value. Just remember one thing with your copy when you are writing this. What is the most important thing is what benefit someone is going to get out of your freebie. How is this going to help them? It's not necessarily about what it is. If it was a mini course and there's 400 lessons, it's more about what is the freebie going to do for them? How is it going to help them? So for example, if I was doing my Kajabi webinar checklist, I'd probably say some things like save time and know that your webinar is set up properly so you have no headaches. So it's kind of like that, what is the outcome that someone wants to achieve? I'd probably word it a little bit better than that. Okay, so when someone completes this form, so if you wanted to change this form, so this form at the moment is the automatically created form that came with the pipeline, you could change it to a different form. But I would just suggest that because Kajabi is creating it and it's setting the form to defaults, that we do go into this and just do a couple of quick updates. So this form here is currently set up to double opt-in, which is I'll do a little rundown on that. It's not sending you a notification. You know, it's up to you whether you want to get a notification, just a little thing if you are doing, oops, I can't spell my own name right. When you are putting your email in here, do make sure to press tab or enter and make sure that it has a gray box around it and an X. Otherwise, it'll drive you crazy because it won't save and you won't know why. So tab or enter to make sure that you can, see that little X next to it. If you are using ConvertKit Active Campaign, you've got that integration set up. This is where you would send that contact through to them. And because this is in a pipeline, you don't need to worry about sending to a custom thank you page. Sometimes I like to do it in the pipeline and on here just to be doubly sure. I don't know, it's probably not needed, but just makes me feel better. All right, so double and single opt-in. If you are using a double opt-in, so you've got the choice now, well, you always had the choice, but it's a much better choice now. So single opt-in will put someone straight onto your list. As soon as they press, give me the freebie, sign up now, all those kinds of things, then they will automatically be added to your list. If you want to do double opt-in, what that means is that before someone is added to your list, before you can contact them, they'll be sent a confirmation email, and they need to click on the confirmation email and then they will get the freebie. So, it's totally up to you what you would prefer. However, I will say if you do the double opt-in, don't use the double opt-in unless you are going to use this custom confirmation, because otherwise this is what's going to go out to someone. Important, please confirm your subscription. If someone's just signed up to get a webinar lead magnet, is that going to make them, get the subscription? Maybe it was like, 30 great places to go for a destination wedding, and they get an email saying important, please confirm your subscription, click the button below. They're probably not going to see that and click on it, and all your beautiful list building efforts may have gone to waste. So please promise me, if you're going to use the double opt-in, that you update this email and make it more enticing. Important, your wedding guide is almost here. Webinars made easy. I can't think. This is why I shouldn't copyright on demand. Webinars are almost easy. Confirmation needed. Required, needed. So, you know, something in that subject line to make people open it and to realize what it is for. So don't just leave it as the default. If you're going to leave it as the default, honestly, I personally think you might as well go for the single opt-in, because you will lose a significant number of the people that are going to sign up. So double opt-in if you are making this sound fancier, and putting in a button. And, you know, instead of confirm subscription, it could be like, get my free guide, or confirm to get the free guide, something that will sound a little bit more exciting. And you can update the color of the button and the text inside the button. And you can also redirect contacts to a custom confirmation page. If you want to, you can actually create a landing page, and it can be like, yes, awesome, you are now confirmed. Alexandra, been caught so many times on that notification. Oh my gosh, you have no, it just drove me crazy. I remember getting onto Kajabi support eventually because I got so frustrated. But yeah, so you can, you know, create a custom confirmation page. And if you were going to do that, I would probably do something that was general for any lead magnet, just to save you having to create, you know, 100 pages. And it can just be like, you know, put a funny GIF on it or something, just make it a bit more personality driven. This default confirmation page will be a white and gray page that just says, thank you for confirming. And that'll be it. There's no buttons, there's nothing. So, up to you. So I'm not going to do single double opt-in again, because I always start ranting on it. But I am so glad that Kajabi have made double opt-in better, because before I was like, please don't use it. It's, you know, it's not going to help you. But now at least you can make this sound, you know, exciting. And you can add a picture in here, like, you know, show a picture of whatever was in your lead magnet to remind people what they signed up for. They're like, oh yeah, that's right. And if you're like, you know, you can't get it till you confirm, then someone's going to be more likely to confirm. All right, that's done. That is the things that are needed. If you also wanted to add and tag in here, so you can segment by someone who has filled out this form, but I really like to put a tag on, because it's really quick and easy to see what someone has subscribed to just when you go into their name, rather than kind of having to fish around. So you can add automation and add a tag, and let's call this webinar checklist. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know if I can say I need coffee at this time. Maybe I need to do this earlier. All right, so we've got a tag on here now. So these are all the things you can add above and beyond the Kajabi default. So we're going to save that, and we're going to go back into our pipeline. So all of that's saved now on this form. And if you did want to change it to a different form, then you can do that as well. Okay, so this is our opt-in page. I mean, let's just ignore the fact that that purple is not pretty, but let's pretend you've made it all pretty. And I'm going to come and do some page training in one of these sessions in the next few days. The next step is to go to the email sequence. So you can do the next step, thank you, but we might as well just go down the list, I think. So an email sequence has been created for you. Now with email sequences, again, sometimes this can be something that stops you in your tracks of making progress, because you're like, oh my gosh, now I've got to write a 5 email welcome sequence. You can start with one. And I definitely recommend starting with one and getting people onto your list is better than putting it off for a month, because, you know, it takes time to write an email sequence, for example. So send an email out immediately, a welcome email. If you want to get ideas, sign up to something on our site and see what goes out in the welcome email. More than happy for you to copy, take it as inspiration, you know, change it and make it your own. But basically in the welcome email, this is not going to have anything in here, because this is Kajabi's created it and probably created it empty. There we go. Immediate email welcome, thanks. So we'll update that. But yeah, it's just basically like a, hey, awesome, you signed up. I usually give a link back to the page where the download is, just as a, you know, in case they missed it, close the window, something did it on their phone, you know, anything like that could happen. So this one is just, you know, a pretty quick one, like, yes, you're in. Look at that, your Kajabi guide is here, you're registered. just something else, something to let them know that you're in, and then just a quick welcome message. It doesn't have to be long. You don't have to go into anything in this one. I just think it's really important to make sure that you send something straight away, because that's the time that someone is most interested. You can then build out the rest of that sequence, maybe make it a mission to do 1 email per week, and then over, say, 5 weeks, you'll get your welcome sequence built out. It doesn't have to be something that's done before you put your lead magnet up. It's definitely something that you can do on the go. So if you want to go into here, maybe you do have your email sequence already written. That's where you can then just build that out. So this one is going on day 0. Day 0 is immediate. So just bear in mind, if you change it to day 1, it's going to go the next day. So day 0 is today. Day 1 is tomorrow if someone signed up. And then if you wanted to add into your sequence new emails, you can just go through and add a new email and just go and build the sequence out. Now, one thing that you can't do is put an email into draft. So one thing that you can do instead of draft, but make sure you come back and fix it, because I have been caught with this. Not coming back. I think I set it to like day 100 or something and went, oh, I'll come back and fix that up. Yeah, I forgot. And then someone got some half-written draft email. So make it like day 3000, just to, so you don't get into trouble. So if you're sort of half writing it, either write it in a Google Doc or something and bring it in, or set it to, I think it goes to 3500 or something. It's like 10 years in advance, and then come and finish it off, and then make it back to day 2 or whatever. Now, if someone's already in the sequence and you create an email for day 2 and they're already like up to day 15, they're not going to get that day 2. It's only going to be for people who go forward. But I don't think it's too much of a stress. You're doing it, you're building as you go. But yeah, that's how you do drafts. There is no draft yet, unfortunately. But yeah, don't fall prey to doing it on like day 50 or day 100 unless you put a reminder in your system to make sure. So yeah, so you will build out the emails in this welcome sequence. There are a couple of things that you can do. You can come into your settings. If you were not wanting someone to get this sequence who had purchased a particular offer, or if you're selling something in the sequence and you want them to drop out if they buy, then you can add that offer in here. So you can just go and pull the offer in that is related to that. And same thing, if people have submitted a form for something that you wouldn't want them to get this for any reason, you can do that. And there's a few basic automations that you can do as well. The main thing that I tend to do is I set up sequences that have just 1 email in it for every opt-in. And then what I do is at the end of the sequence, then I have another welcome sequence. I then subscribe. So when the sequence is completed, then I subscribe to a sequence, and I have another one called welcome. Now that way they aren't going to get the same welcome sequence 5 times if they sign up for 5 different things. They'll just get that initial, like, hey, thanks for getting the webinar checklist. Thanks for joining the Kajabi resource vault. Here's your landing page templates, like whatever it is that the freebie is. It means that you send 1 email specific to that freebie, and then I flick them onto the email sequence that starts 2 days later, which then goes into that welcome. So that is something that you can consider as well. All right, so that's your email sequence. So you can build that out and put whatever you want in to welcome people into your world. Tell them a little bit about what you offer, how you can help, maybe some case studies of people that you've worked with. And yeah, if you've got something that you want to sell, then a lot of people do that in that welcome sequence as well. But if you don't worry, just let people know what you do. Give them some information. If you've got a cool blog post that people really like, or a YouTube video, send them to that. All right, but I don't want to get too distracted with going into email sequences. That's a whole course. I've done a whole entire course just on emails. All right, so now we've got the emails sequence is done, the form's done, the page is done. It's time for the thank you page. Now, Kajabi makes you a lovely plain thank you page, but do you remember right back in the beginning when we added our PDF lead magnet on? Well, guess what? That's already attached. It's already in there. So all you need to do on this page is to design it. It's got the same image here, so maybe you want to swap that image out and put something in. instead of thank you, you could be like, yes, you're in, make this your language. If you wanted to put a video on this page, that can be really, really powerful. It's a great way to connect with people. So if you wanted to do something like that, you can just go and add a section and add a video. Where is our video? So you can just go through and just add a video. That's a nice way to connect. Something else that can be really helpful on a thank you page is just think about it that you don't want the thank you page to just have one job, just giving the freebie. The thank you page can also be a next step. So when someone signs up on this form and they click, give me the freebie, they're going to come here and they're going to be able to download their freebie. And you can be like, hey, here's your free webinar guide. Let me know if you've got any questions. Great opportunity if you have a Facebook group, if you want to direct people to your Instagram, if you've got free calls, something like that. You can put something else down here. Maybe you want to, you've got a YouTube video that's related to that, that's helpful. There are other things that you can do, which I'm not going to go into, like setting up a tripwire. Even you can use this thank you page as a hey, here's your freebie. I usually actually put the freebie on the second page, but anyway, so you can be like, here's your freebie, but while you're here, you might also like this. And then you can, give them a little $7 offer, $17 offer, something in that lower price range. That can be a really helpful thing to do on a thank you page. But I think whatever you do, just maybe try and think of one extra thing that you can do. However, if you are trying to get something up as quickly as possible, just use this. Just say, hey, here's your freebie. Come and join me on Facebook, and just put a little picture of, your Facebook group and let them click on it. Or, see you on Instagram, like whatever it is. But yeah, so you can then update this page. So in the background of this page, just like on the other page, you can select your image. You can change the background color. I might change this to a blue color. And this little slider bar here is how you use the color overlay. So the more you move it along, the more transparent it will be. And it's just a nice way to have a background image on here, but the color's sort of mostly going over the top of that color. Something else that you might want to do with this box, I'll just do a quick little background is a block background color is what you might make this. Might just make, actually gray would have been better. Would it have been better? No. And then we can just turn this almost right down. No, that's not very nice at all. Maybe white. So you can just sort of make that stand out a little bit better on the background. And then, just play around with that to get it where you want it to be. Change your button. I probably wouldn't have a blue button and a blue background. We'll do our orange button, but you can do whichever button that you would like to do. Instead of download now, you might be like, hey, download your free guide, like whatever you would like to do to update that. And then if you did want to add any other sections in, like if you did want to, say, for example, add in an extra, like a picture that was clickable through to a Facebook group, Instagram, YouTube, etc. You can do that. You could just do a straight call to action button, just add another button in there that you could make a different color. If you've got a few frequently asked questions, you can add this accordion section. Make this page your own, make it something that people are like, awesome, cool, thank you so much. All right. So that's that page. Now, I'm just going to go back to something. I'm just going to save this. So that's pretty much the pipeline, apart from the customizing it and changing the copy and, making it a little bit pretty and your brand colors. But just when we go into our pipeline, I did mention before that we want to go into edit the details to change the name. Oops, I've gone too many clicks. Just make sure you do the same thing for the thank you page. Otherwise, if you're ever trying to find that thank you page anywhere else, you're never going to find it. Now, in the first one, I suggested to get rid of all these numbers and everything like that. But a thank you page where you've got a free guide on it, generally you don't want that to be found by Google. So we're going to turn this off, and generally you would hope that page isn't shared. So we don't need to have a nice image on it. However, instead of just being called thank you, we will call this webinar checklist thank you, so we know specifically what it is for, so that we don't end up with a whole lot of pages in our landing page list all called thank you, and then you're like, oh no, which thank you is it? So if you do this now, it will save you annoyance later. All right, so that's it. The pipeline is done. So I'm going to give you a couple of options. You can copy the link from here, which will give you a link, but I'm going to show you what the link looks like. This link, see how it says PL21? This is the pipeline number. So that number, it's kind of, it is going to go through to our actual URL. But what I would recommend is that you, instead of doing this link, you actually come in here. You either, can pull this up and just get this URL, or you can come in here and edit details and actually get the page URL, especially if you want to write that link somewhere. So, copy that link. If you want to write the actual link, that's going to be a whole lot nicer than PL217435. That you can't change, but this page URL you can, and you can personalize that to make it what you want. And then you can, put that link out into the world, and hopefully lots and lots of people will sign up onto your list. When they sign up onto your list, they will be in your people, they will get delivered their freebie, and you'll be able to find them in people. Now, troubleshooting, if you find that you have say 20 people signed up to your list, or it says you've got 20 but you only see 10 people, or you go into your people and you segment and it says that it's only 10, pretty high chance that your double opt-in is turned on and people have missed seeing it. So if you have single opt-in, it should match up pretty clearly, but if you have the double opt-in, there's a chance that people haven't seen it, which is why I was suggesting in the double opt-in that you really pay attention to that that confirmation email and make it sound exciting and enticing. Give them a reason to be like, oh, it's almost here, your guide is almost with you, and that way, you'd be like, one last step to get your guide or something like that, so that people know that until they do that, they're not going to get their free guide. And of course, you want them to do that because you want them to be on your email list. So so that is one thing with troubleshooting, and I think that's it. If you have any other questions about pipelines, one of the things that I suggest to do is to go into your pipelines and just play around with them. If you are on the basic plan, you do only have 3 pipelines, but go and, build one of them, see what it's like, get an idea, and then delete it. Then go and do another one. Like, it's really helpful to get to know Kajabi and the different things that you need to set up when you are creating a funnel when these ones are done for you. So for example, for this one, this sales page pipeline is going to create an opt-in page with 4, an email sequence with 8 emails in it, which can give you ideas for things to put in those emails, then to a sales page, and then to a checkout. And it's going to create all of those for you, so you can go and get an idea and be like, all right, cool, this is the, what I would need to include. Obviously, there's different things that you can do to zhuzh it up and make it a bit more special, but the pipeline's just going through and setting all of those up, is really helpful. There is one legacy pipeline that I like to use, and the legacy pipeline is, where is it? This webinar one. So this is what I use if I'm creating an evergreen webinar on Kajabi. I'm kind of 50-50 on liking. I like but don't love Kajabi's evergreen webinar feature. There is a few things that I would like it to do that it doesn't, but if I'm not running ads to something and there's not kind of, budget behind it, if it's just kind of there on your website and, people will find it, it's not an active promotion, then it can work really well. But that one's nice because it sets all your pages up, it sets the countdowns up for when things appear, it sets up your event, everything is all set up. So that's the one that I like to use in the legacy, but the rest of them, I use these ones up the top. So that is it for this Kajabi free workshop for today. I hope you have enjoyed it. If you do have any questions, Manisha, there will be I've been saying I'm going to do it for ages and I haven't got around to doing it, but I will be doing that in Unicorn Heroes, our Kajabi membership. And as you are a member of that, you will get access to it, walking you through the entire setup of using the quiz features of Interact and how to integrate that into Kajabi. There is a couple of ways that you can do it. One way is by capturing their email address first, putting them through the quiz, and then the quiz answers then direct them back to Kajabi. So when they get to their result, you would actually create the result pages in Kajabi. So the end of the quiz would be a button. You then direct them back to their Kajabi result, and the email address is captured in the beginning in Kajabi. Or you can set it up in Interact and then use Zapier to zap the details of the person, in which case you wouldn't use a form or an opt-in. You would actually embed the quiz on your site and the quiz would be done through Interact. So a couple of different options. So have a beautiful day and bye for now. And I will see you again very soon. Bye.